Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first lesson of Model 1, Fitness Scaling Model of Project Starlet. And this one is called Different Plays and Operation Models, which is just a fancy way of saying different ways you can make money in the fitness industry. What to do, what not to do, the strategies and things we'll keep in mind that will allow us to make more money. So this acts as a foundation for everything else we do in the future, right? Value ladders, programs to charge at, things like that. So let's get started. The thing is, your mode of delivery is going to either be in person, hybrid, or virtual, right? Like if you're a gym or a person or in-person personal trainer, you'll likely be reliant on in-person models. You might be a virtual only online coach, a fitness influencer, or someone like that who services client all over the world. You might be somebody who's hybrid, which is more common for the in-person ones where you might be managing their nutrition and having check-ins virtually and texting them and all of that stuff, right? While also seeing them in person. This, regardless of whatever, or you might even be more niche down. You might be targeting women over 40, or you might be focused on mobility, or you might be more into the self-defense side of things. Regardless of all of that, the problems that you're going to struggle with, the models that are probably flawed, and the things that you're doing wrong, and challenges of the industry are overall quite same, right? As well as the delivery mechanisms of the things we sell them, the programs we sell them, their duration and their sales styles, and that's what we're going to cover. On that note, all of these are already um, like I have already built end-to-end acquisition systems like landing pages, ads, funnels, as well as sales styles later on, so you can plug and play any of them. But anyways, I'll try to cover some fundamentals and then we can get ourselves started, right? So, a general goal you want is to try to make as much as you can per client. That is going to be your competitive advantage. That is what will allow you to survive higher lead costs. That is what will allow you to um, re-spend in advertising and scaling the business and providing better service and things like that, right? And the thing is, quite often you are not able to provide a better quality service because you're charging prices that don't allow you to do that. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see in the fitness industry. Like, whether you're a gym with small ticket membership, because you see those big box gyms like Planet Fitness that are offering $20 and weekly memberships and really better rates, and you're like, I want to compete with them. Always provide people more value. Like, this is quite often a skill deficiency, which I'll cover later. The reason you're not able to sell people at a higher rate is not because you're priced high. It's because you don't know how to sell and you're not attracting the right clients. And we're gonna cover that. And your model is broken. Anyways, but yeah, even in that case, quite often the issues that gyms still face is they don't make enough money in the first 30 days or in the front end for them to be able to cover ad spend, for them to be able to reinvest back in the business and have peace of mind, right? So what I generally want you guys to target is to try to get people, which will be the premise throughout this overall program, to sign up for high ticket um, training programs, um, group fitness sessions, whatever it is, try to get them to commit for a longer period and try to sell more premium courses and programs, mainly because the higher you charge, the better value and quality service you can provide, the better results they get. The higher somebody pays, the more likely they're going to stay, and the more likely they're going to see the value, and the more likely they're going to take things seriously. And the easier it will be for you to do everything else. Because, like, otherwise you get stuck in this dead zone of mass fitness coaches and trainers who are just making enough to pass by, yet not able to push through. And unless you are somebody extremely famous and influential, that you already have a really large audience, and at that stage, you can go on the volume side where you can charge lower prices. In the beginning, try to maximize your lifetime value per client. Try to sell them high ticket and try to collect a lot as much as you can up front as well, right? So the thing that I want to discuss here is client financed acquisition, which is a fancy way of saying how do we make sure that the clients pay for us to acquire them and acquire more clients, right? And this quite often happens in like the 30-day cycle or something, but there are two ends to this. Um, Front end low ticket, so max lowering the cost per acquisition, which is like how cheap can we make it for us to hire to get a client for whatever program you have. You could do this by offering free to low ticket offers, irresistible offers, right? A lot of people do that. They offer free challenges, they offer free offers, and all of those things. So their cost per acquisition does come really low. But this is what most people focus on. And they forget the fact that the actual purpose of having a low ticket front end is not so you just get the person through the door. That's half the journey. The main thing is selling them a high ticket backend offer. So that's where I mentioned those things in the past, where somebody comes in for like a free fitness and nutrition consult. You sell them onto a $2,000 6 week plan right away. Or if someone, and then add that while they're signing up for the 6 week plan, you get them to sign up for something else towards the end and you just credit it or whatever. Um, you try to sell them supplements during the nutrition consultation and you get money from that resource. You affiliate, you refer them business, you get them to bring in their friends, so you maximize the average value per person, right? So maximizing the LTV is one thing that you definitely need to focus on and try to do this as much as possible. Trust me, more, it's not difficult to get a person through the door. Like you can run any irresistible offer and you'll get leads. The thing that you want to focus on is ensuring that you're good at sales and that you're able to convert them at a high ticket package, right? And most of you are good at sales. Um, but that's the first thing. The second is front end cash collected, which is the same thing I discussed earlier. If somebody's able to pay us 1,500 on their first time, if you try to get them to pay in full, and they pay for the remainder of the program at $99 a week or something like that, right? I can very easily, like if it's costing me $600 to acquire a client, like if the lead cost is 20 or whatever, and excluding the show up rates, and so let's say I like out of 30 20 leads, I am able to, let's say out of 30 leads, I close one person. And in the first um, time when they show up, like I'm able to sell them onto a $1,500 package and collect on a $2,500 package and collect 1,500 upfront and get the rest in recurring. You're able to then reinvest that back into ad spend, reinvest that back into sales, reinvest that back into whatever equipment, even if you need more, or building your value stack and things like that, right? So that's the first thing. But also, something that I do notice a lot of premium coaches, the mistake they make is they don't get their hands dirty. So they're priced high, but they don't have the front end sorted. And so they're not getting enough people through the door. Their offer is not good enough that um, they don't have enough volume of leads, of quality leads to be able to then sell them, right? So it's like both sides need to be balanced. And if you're able to get a lot of people up front, through marketing, through ads, through better quality promotions, through better quality offers, and then you have better programs and services to sell them that are high ticket and you're good at sales, you're pretty good to go. This seems obvious, but you'd be surprised if you actually started noticing your numbers. How many leads you got in a month, right? And how many of those you converted, you'd see that it's not enough. And for the goal or the target you have, if you walk backwards and calculate the maths on how many leads you would need and what your closing rate is, and based on that, how many sales can you make to hit your whatever seven-figure target you have, you'd notice that you need to do a lot more promotion and you need to sell a lot more. And just that hard work and putting yourself out there is what quite often ends up separating um, hobby personal trainers and fitness coaches to the ones who actually become successful, right? Next thing, I mentioned this earlier. The reason you might not be able to sell high ticket is not because it's not possible. People make that excuse all the time. Like, nobody's gonna pay for $1,500 for a fitness program. Um, my industry is saturated. Other people are selling for cheaper. There will always be somebody cheaper. You can't compete with that. That's why I said provide more value. But the thing is, it is a skill deficiency that I mentioned earlier because other people have done it, and the fact other people have done it means you can do it too. Other people are using Facebook ads to get tons of leads and then get them to show up and then sell them in person at high ticket programs, right? Or sell them virtually for their coaching packages and things like that, where here you are selling community memberships. And $10 nutrition and meal plan guides. And the thing is, the reason you're not able to sell high ticket is because of a skill deficiency. You don't know how. You don't know what to say, how to position it. You don't have a program in place that is value packed enough that you're able to do it. And quite often it comes into, like I said, one of these bottlenecks, right? Some people have such a high exposure, such a high volume of leads. These are either organic or those that spend a lot on paid ads, that even if their sales and revenue is low, they're still able to convert people that are willing to spend more money and are higher quality. Just because, like, if I get 100 people to show up, there will be a unicorns and those that, drive in Mercedes and money is coming in, and you see those clients and you get happy right off the bat, right? Just through sheer volume, you'd be able to do that. And that's how a lot of businesses do work. Others are extremely good at sales. So even if their leads are low, so like two businesses, both of them might get 30 leads a week, right? And one is able to convert 10 out of those 30. The other is able to convert just two out of those 30. The person who's able to sell 10 people has nearly four times leverage over the business that's just able to convert to. Like these are, some people are so good, you can just pick up the phone, call anyone and sell them. You can talk to your friends, you can do cold outreach, warm outreach, and there are those that are just absolute beast at sales. You don't have to be that, but you still have to be good because your ability to persuade is going to be one of very high leverages. The third one is the revenue, which is the business model, how much you make per client. Some people might not be good at marketing, they might not be good at sales, but their average ticket price is so high, or the client value and the money they make per client is so high that even with the previous models being inefficient, they're still able to scale and grow the business. And we will try to cover all of these, getting more exposure, the right exposure, right? For all ticket levels, right? Making more sales, getting better at that, as well as how to just have better and higher term revenue models. Anyways, so this is just like an easy way if you want to calculate that I mentioned earlier that how much, whatever your goals is, let's say seven figures, know your lifetime gross profit per client. How much is one client worth to you, right? Do that maths and how much do you want them to be worth? So let's say if the average client value is 3,500, upfront you sell them into a $2,000 program, and then you are able to retain them for 6 to 8 months at whatever $200 a week, selling them accountability plus semi-private training or combined with group and virtual sessions and stuff like that, right? So if one client to you was worth 3,500, you just need to sell 30 a month to be able to get to seven figures, right? Um, and assuming this is gross profit per client, that's what I mean by lifetime value, lifetime gross profit, not just lifetime sale value. Subtract your advertising cost and everything from here. And then divide that by 1 million, and then divide that by 12 months. And that gives you the number you need for 30 days, and have that in mind and write that and put that somewhere. So you're able to see and try to get to that target. Like quite often, numbers make such a huge difference that when we notice ourselves cutting corners or just, doing it at the back of our hand without any proper clear strategy or understanding in mind, you're shooting arrows in the dark without knowing the direction you're heading in and not knowing what you need to do. And that's like the most ambiguous way to run a business. And if you want to run a business, you need to run it like a business, right? Anyway, so this is the general acquisition model that we are going to follow and cover in the future videos. So the two ways you can acquire clients, right? Acquisition just means bringing customers through the door, bringing them into business. So one costs money, other costs time. This time one works for those that are just starting out. If you're a bit successful, or even if you're have some revenue coming in, like save yourself the time and by spending more money, right? So the one that cost money is paid out. This would be the offers, the funnels, all of that stuff. And it could be done higher volume based. So you control how many people see the ads. It correlates with the number you're spending. If you already have structured, proven funnels, templates, all of that stuff there, so you can just reuse that. And the thing is that the it allows you to scale. a lot faster because it quite often becomes a plug and play and doesn't require enough time. So this is like it can happen on the back end to some extent. As opposed to the other approach, which is what costs you time, is organic warm outreach, reaching out to friends, texting cold outreach, texting strangers, texting people who are replying to your Instagram post, right? Um, and things like that. And the final one being affiliate and referrals, which could be a combination of both. You can even run ads and make offers for affiliates and people to refer business. You can reach out to them organically as well and structure them. But these would be people who already have an audience that would refer to you or your existing clients who would refer you business, right? And that can be done through both paid marketing and through organic. Finally, then we do lead nurture, which is now you have all of these leads. Not all of them are going to get into the sales environment. So your ability to maximize how many people show up for the sales call is more important than your sales closing ratio. Seriously, right? It's like walk from one step at a time. Get good at ads, then get good at lead nurture, and then do sales. Quite a lot of you are good at sales. Don't know lead nurture, don't know paid ads. That's why the business works as a bottleneck. Right, so paid ads, you get a lot of people, sorry, advertising, you get a lot of people through promotion. Then in lead nurture, you call them, you book them in for sessions, or you book them in for meetings, or just the way that you reach out to them, tell them a rare goodie basket, or do whatever, send them reminder texts, email reminders, things like that. Make it an irresistible offer to show up to this consultation disguised as a sales call or whatever, right? And then you get them to show up, and then you sell hard because you know the difference it could make to their life and everything else that is a part of them with conviction. You handle any objections and bullshit that they're telling themselves and trying to get you to believe in. And then you change their life and then you deliver it and then you retain and ascend them. And that's what we're going to focus on. And I think in the next chapter, I will start with discussing the four different models of advertising, which will be paid ads, warm outreach, cold outreach, and affiliates or slash referrals, right? See you in the next video.